Good morning to all my Joe Exotic Tiger King fans. I'm Autumn Blackledge. I am Joe's divorce lawyer, and I actually have an update for you on his divorce case. So we had been trying to serve Mr. Passage for quite some time, or get him to respond to our request to let us know where he was. He has not done that. And so one of our very brilliant paralegals in my office and I together tracked Mr. Passage down, and we were able to obtain service of the petition for dissolution of marriage on Mr. Passage in Citrus Springs, Florida on Monday, the 18th, April 18th, right around noon. We have not received the return of service, but we are quite certain that it has been completed because our process server is just amazing that way. So I will tell you that in the time period that we filed to today, a lot of information has come to light for me as Joe's attorney, and also from Joe and how he wants to proceed with the case. You may have heard that Mr. Passage said that there had been an amicable settlement agreement that had been floated to Joe prior to our filing for divorce in Florida. Apparently there was a settlement agreement. We finally did receive that settlement agreement. And in looking over the settlement agreement and talking with Joe, there are many, many, many issues. In fact, from an attorney perspective, just knowing what I know now, and that is probably not everything I will eventually need to know, just knowing what I know now, the settlement agreement is just a non-starter. It is not reasonable. It is not in Joe's best interest. And it has certain terms that are just kind of a head scratcher for myself and also for Joe. For example, one of the things that Mr. Passage has requested, and he's been pretty public about this on his social media, is that he wants an injunction against Joe. What is very odd about that is that there has never been any sort of actions or activities or criminal movement towards Dillon that would request or justify any sort of injunction. What is also strange is that there is no request for an injunction or no settlement term that would require Dillon to stop using Joe Exotic, and Tiger King for his own benefit. Now, that is really, at the end of the day, what this case is going to end up being. It's going to be a much bigger case than I originally thought. Joe is a real person, and there are real issues in this divorce. And although we want it to be quick and we want it to be as amicable as possible, when there have been problems, not only finding somebody, but with truthfulness, and quite frankly, when you give a settlement agreement that doesn't even request that you will move on and that you will not use Joe's likeness to make money in the future, that's just a non-starter. Joe is not planning on signing that Texas settlement agreement, and so we are now looking forward to seeing what Dillon will do next. He will have 20 days from the date that he was served to file an answer. We should then know who his attorney is on the divorce case, and we'll get just a sense of how the case is going to progress. I'm going to keep you up to date as much as I possibly can and as much as I am at liberty to tell. And when I do that, certainly willing to answer questions if those are things that I can answer. So if you just comment or send me an email, I'm happy to respond. At the end of the day, we have a couple goals. One, the main goal, and that is John Phillips and his team trying to get Joe out of jail and get him out of prison. It's the more I read, the more ridiculous I know that these charges are. And then the second thing is to get him on with his life so that he can have his freedom to find love again, to marry, and to have that human right of a relationship.